welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be recalculating my emergency fund, so if you want to see that, keep on watching. So before I jump in, I want to go over why I recalculate my emergency fund at all. So I go over this process once every year for two main reasons: life changes and inflation or cost of living increases. So during the pandemic, a lot of things in my life have changed. I moved home from New York City, got 2 promotions at work, and bills and subscriptions have also changed. So that's reason 1. Reason 2 is because of inflation and cost of living increases, which happens all the time. And these have both been in the news pretty recently, and these things together mean that in the future, say 2030, my $6,000 planned emergency fund isn't going to be able to purchase as much as it does now. So I'd rather increase my emergency fund gradually over time than get to the point where I need my emergency fund and I don't have enough. I use 2 methods to figure out what a good goal number for me is, so I'm going to walk you through both of those and then compare them at the end. So first up is the comfort level budget. Comfort level budget really is just that. If I lose my job, I want to have enough money in the bank that allows me to live comfortably while looking for my next job. Here, I'm filling out all the bills I currently have and adding them up. I'm not taking into account any annual fees or anything like that, just what I pay on a typical monthly basis. Then for envelopes or variable expense categories, which are the categories I can control, I look at previous statements and budgets and see how much I spend in a typical month. For cash envelopes, I do the same thing, just my sinking funds down with an ideal monthly contribution if I want to keep making them. Then I add up the totals for each category and multiply it by 3, 6, or 12 to get the totals, which ends up being $2,268.50 for 1 month, $6,790.50 for 3 months, $13,581 for 6 months, and finally $27,162 for 12 months. And that is the first method. So the comfort level budget was pretty simple. The bare bones budget will require you to go through all your bills and variable expenses and determine what is necessary for you to keep and what you can cancel. For bills, I wrote down all the names, the amounts, and then in the keep versus cancel column, I mark which ones I'd be ready to cancel in the case of an emergency. Now for sinking funds, I did it a little bit differently. I wrote down the names and only put contributions for the funds I will still need a budget for. Here, for example, I'm choosing to contribute to car maintenance and my health envelopes because those are purchases that I will need to make in the case of an emergency. The next step, I take my bare bones budget worksheet and transfer all the information over from my subscription and bill tracker. Starting off with bills, notice how I'm only taking 4 bills over. For variable expenses or envelopes, I took a look at what I typically budget and made a reasonable cut to them. For example, with groceries, I usually spend $200, and I determined my budget for an emergency would be $50. I went over my sinking funds earlier, so again, just transferring my car maintenance and health sinking funds over. I'm totaling up the categories and then multiplying them by 3, 6, or 12 to get the totals. So comparing them side by side, you can really see that there's a big difference between the totals, at least in my case. And I've used both of these budgets at different points in my life. So first with the bare bones budget, like I said earlier, I used a bare bones budget when I lost my job in early 2020. And I knew that when I was taking that job, I was taking a huge risk because it was unstable, it was temporary, and I wouldn't really have enough time to build up a large emergency fund. So I used worksheets very similar to these to make my plan of action. And when I lost my job, I knew exactly which subscriptions to cancel, which bills I needed to put on hold, and how much I could spend. And you can see that there is about $1,000 or $1,100 difference. And that's really where a bare bones budget shines. It gives you a plan if you need to live on your emergency fund, but you don't have enough time or money to build it up. Now that I'm in a more stable job, I am shifting to a comfort level budget for my emergency fund. This means that if I ever find myself in an emergency, I can take the time, relax, and relatively enjoy my life as it is while looking for another job. And I also make more than I did in 2020, and I'm not at the risk of losing my job, so I have time to build it up a little bit more. And that's why I'm going to be increasing my emergency fund goal to be $7,000 instead of the $6,000 that I usually budget for and talk about. So that's all for today's video. I hope this helps explain the different ways you can plan your emergency fund. If you liked it, please comment, like, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.